Innocent Tribe Wellbriety circle, pretty much out of this church. And we met a lot of people on this red road. We met a lot of people on their path. This one guy, we just can't get rid of him. But I'm just proud to say, I met this bro, and it's very, very rare you meet other people that have the same similarities as you. And like I said earlier, I lost a lot of people in addiction, and learning about my brother here, I found out he did too. So, I always think it's like, God's way of telling you you're on the right path. Because, I needed to heal just like anyone else. And I was patient, I just waited for the signs. And, one of those signs is my brother coming here. I just wanted to say that. He taught me a lot about the drum. He taught me a lot about these songs. And he teaches me a lot about the Comanche ways. He's a pro Comanche, even though I'm punk. I try to tell him good stories. And that's what keeps us going. And, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my brother, Mr. Jake Chappelle.
I know him. My name is Jake. I got a me problem. First and foremost, I just want to acknowledge my elders in the room. Just overlook me. The way I was taught is that, when there's ones that know more than you and that are older than you, you acknowledge them and ask for forgive me, because I don't know everything, but I'm sure to share my experience, strength, and hope. And when you're asked to do something like that, you don't refuse. So I just ask you to overlook me and forgive me for speaking in front of you like that. But in other words, how you guys doing tonight? Pretty sure we're violating some fire codes, but it's all right. It's a beautiful thing, man. You guys all look beautiful. I'm glad you guys are here. It really makes my heart feel good. You guys are all defying the odds by being here right now, So take a second to revel in that. That's amazing. But it's the statistics that say that we're all not supposed to be in this room right now, but here you are. And man, y'all's beautiful. I'll tell you what. You're proud to be in recovery. Make some noise. All the single aunties, make some noise. Just kidding. Hey, y'all, behave. They ain't getting riled up, man. We y'all behave. Hey, pastor's sitting right here. Now, before we get started, I want you guys to do something for me. I want you guys to just close your eyes for a minute. Just close your eyes. I want to tell everybody to take some deep breaths. I want to take 4 deep breaths, and I mean from your belly. Just from your belly all the way up. Just. Death is a part of life, as life is a part of death. And if it wasn't for the worst, then we would never appreciate the best. While we look to the east and we look to the west, as we ponder the mysteries that follow the absence of beating inside our chest, a rumbling of gut rot, an unbearable weight, while our spirituality tries to comfort us from our unavoidable fate. But life is a gift. It doesn't have to be a riddle. It's not where you were born or how you die, but what we do in the middle. And addiction is the only prison where the locks are on the inside. Yet a substance solution gives me goosebumps where my skin resides. And conflict precedes clarity. Life can be hard to cope with, Sometimes you have to be broken before you shine like a glow stick. What a beautiful lesson. My brother's final parting gift. To appreciate the time we have and to make the best of it. But my brother was a warrior. He fought a great battle. Now tears fill my eyes as his horse rides away with an empty saddle. A mix of emotions. But misplaced anger can turn to hate. But I choose not hatred because I be angry with God. And my God doesn't make mistakes. So please, God, guide me. Show me how to be present with how I feel. So when I see that big cheesy grin again, he'll know the love was real. I wrote that poem when I was at Country Roads. A few days after my brother overdosed on fentanyl. I use poetry as a method of healing. And it's brought me to new heights emotionally. But in order to get there, I have to tell you where I started. You know, I was born in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was raised by a single mom. But I had a lot of father figures. I was raised by strong Comanche men, Comanche and Kiowa men. And to put into perspective, the type of men that I was raised by, you know, I started singing when I was 6 years old. Singing the drum, we'd do shows, I was dancing. I did about 4 different dances because we ran out of dancers. It was eagle dancing, hoop dancing, traditional dancing, grass dancing. It's the thing, I'm only getting paid $10. But the men that raised me, you know, my dads and my uncles, they were doing a show one time in front of a teepee, you know, it was real Indian like, you know. And, you know, they were taking a lunch break eating, and, you know, my dad started looking around and said, "Hey, where's brother at?" I said, "I don't know, Dad, I seen him talking to that babe that had that big old buffalo bump on her back." He said, "God, dogs. Saying this guy's rugged. Now, if you ain't ever met Comanche man, we're goofy. That's all right, you know. Strong and traditional, but goofy." So they're sitting there eating, and all of a sudden they said, "Ooh, so who's that? Ooh, what the heck?" So, ooh, I said, "Dang, it's coming from that teepee." "God, dogs, your boy." All of a sudden, all I heard was, "Ooh, how do you like it, baby? How does it feel?" She said, "Ooh, you're heavy." God, man. They lost it. What they cracking up? Man, he got shamed out. Said, shut up. You know, isn't that too good? That's the type of men that raised me. They're goofy. They give you, you know, they terrorize, you know. True story, boy. I ain't lying. Forgive me. Sorry. They said rigorous honesty, Pastor. Well, now that's the type of men I was raised by. So obviously you can see the outcome. But they were good. They're good men, you know. But like a lot of our relatives, they were plagued with the disease of alcoholism and addiction. So I was exposed at a young age, you know. And you know, I didn't really know much about it. I just see everybody drinking, have a good time. That's all right, you know. But my real up close interaction with my big brother, he was textbook alcoholic, and he was a champion singer, you know, a champion songmaker. You know, I'm not. Some people in here might have heard of Skimitzen powwow. It was where it was at back in the '90s. You know, championship of the championship, $50,000 first place. You know what I mean? And one of his songs won first place, and overall they beat everybody with that song. You know, so it's the type of caliber singer he was, a songmaker. So you know, he was my big brother. He showed me, guided me, but he was textbook alcoholic. And when I say textbook, I mean he was probably a little bit worse than textbook, because I remember one day my mouthwash and my Curve cologne went missing the same days. Man, now mind this is early 2000s, so Curve was pretty harsh, you know. I was like, dang, not my Curve. God dang. But you know, like, yeah, I didn't understand what was going on. I was a little guy. I was young, you know what I mean? But it wasn't, I didn't see the effects of alcoholism until we had to take him to the hospital because he was blowed up. And I had to hear his screams as they drained the fluid from his body. And I didn't understand it. So why don't you just quit drinking? Just stop. Yeah, it's that easy. But I didn't understand it, right? And I didn't understand what mental health was. And he had developed schizophrenia because of his alcoholism. And I remember one night I was young, I was laying in bed, and I woke up, he was sitting at the foot of my bed, and I was like, well, you all right? He's like, yeah, I was just thinking about setting your bed on fire. Holy shit. Mom? Mom? You know what I mean? But he was harmless though. You know, he had a heart of gold. He just suffered from the disease of alcoholism. And so I remember I started developing hatred toward it because I watched him drink himself into bad health and the worst things happened. And I couldn't understand it. And I was unintentionally enabling him because I would hang out with him and he'd bring out his stash and be like, bring it to your mama. All right, that's bro code, you know what I mean? And I didn't know I was enabling him. And then one day I got pissed. I was just mad. I was sick of it. I was sick and tired of him being sick and tired. And I went out and I found his stash and I busted every can. Boy, I tell you what, he was hot about it, man. He was mad. And my mom ended up, sending him off back to Oklahoma. And so I vowed, I was like, man, I'm never going to drink. I'll never drink, you know. But, I started smoking weed. But that was all right, everybody smokes weed. There was nothing wrong with weed back then. I was 13, I started selling it. There was nothing wrong with that. I didn't get in trouble. That was in my mind, And, I dropped out of school. And, we ended up moving to Oklahoma. My mom and dad, we got a place in Elgin. Well, my mom got with my dad after he was already my dad. And then he had other women, and he was my dad again. Hey. Y'all know how it goes. But I was semi-accepted, because of who I was around. But when I came, I was a teenager when we moved out here. And then I found out that at first I wasn't really accepted, and I was shunned. And I was, because I was always too white to be native or too native to be white. I wasn't accepted anywhere. And I was like, damn. Well, shit. And then my older brother that I was talking about, he ended up passing away. Passed away at the age of 32 from cirrhosis. But that didn't deter me from drinking, because I went to my first 49. Boy, howdy. And then I was only 3 points, so hey, there couldn't have been nothing. Couldn't have been bad, right? Well, I broke my vow right away. I started drinking heavy. Drinking with my late Uncle Meat Pie Sammy, boy. Some of y'all might know me. Yeah, there you go. If you ever had a meat pie in the 90s, 2000s, but you got it from Meat Pie Sammy. But, I was drinking for a couple years, and I decided to go back to Georgia. I got my GED, enrolled in college at ITT Technical Institute, Education for the Future. Should put me on a commercial. Jesus. But I really started drinking then. I was working at Applebee's during the day, going to school at night, working at Walmart on the weekends. Every night I'd come home, give me about 3 2-11s, get after it. Then I got my wisdom teeth taken out and introduced me to prescription pain pills. Boy, hit the ground running. So 21 months it took me to graduate, a 2-year degree, associates in multimedia and graphic design. September 3rd, 2009, I graduated September 4th, 2009, I was at Colony Powwow. Overnight, drove all night to get to Colony. Just to go to 49. So I started, my singing career. I started traveling. I went out west, went out to Four Corners area, stayed there for a little bit, and I remember, I had a dream one night. It was November, early December, same year, 2009, and I had a dream that I was walking with a beautiful little girl, little baby girl, and she was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. And I loved her more than I could ever describe. Couldn't put it into words. And I just looked down and she looked up at me and smiled, and we were walking towards the sun. And I woke up and I was like, man, I want to go back to sleep, because I felt that. I never felt that before. I wanted to feel it again. A year later, I had my daughter, Jaylen Marie. It was about to be 14 in a couple weeks. God, dogs, I ain't ready. But, me and her mother, we were back and forth from Albuquerque. We moved back and forth, and I was still drinking. I was doing pills, and I started traveling more. And anybody that has any experience on powwow trails, if you're a good singer and you guys win, you kind of live a rock star life. From just being 100% honest, we had the hotel parties, showed up the bathtub with liquor and beer. I remember one time somebody took the door off the hinges and melted the TV. I don't know how that happened, but that's the kind of wild parties we're having, the rock star life, right? And then, I was living life pretty fast. 2011, I was in Rocky Boy, Montana, and one of my favorite powwows. Sunday evening, I have an older brother that did 2 tours in Iraq, and he came home. He was a civilian contractor now, or at the time, working on Chinook helicopters. 2 weeks prior, they changed his medications for his mental health, and that Sunday afternoon, he took his own life. And I didn't know how to deal with that. I was like, man, here I am in Montana with my bros, singing bros, but my brother needed me. I was way across the country, I didn't even go home for the funeral. I stayed on the road, numbed the pain, pushed it out of sight, out of mind. I didn't want to feel. It just got worse. My relationship fizzled out, and I actually ended up, in 2013, I moved to North Dakota. And it just got worse from there. I got a job. I actually went to a powwow. We won first place, $10,000, and didn't even leave. They trapped me. Took me captive. She did anyway. This shit marked me. Hey, she marked me. Against my will. Hey, it's my story. I'm sticking to it. Hey. But I got a good job. I was the director of IT department, making like $25 an hour, and doing an exponential amount of pills. And then one day I was chilling with the guys that I looked up to, my idols, my singing idols, man, world champion singers, award-winning singers, and they had been interested in my songs that I was blessed to be gifted with. That's the way I believe, is my folks gift us with these songs for people to share. So, they wanted to hang out with me. They wanted to be in it. Everybody wanted to hang out with them. So my validation, the facade of validation was there. And, it felt good for once. I was wanted. And they went into the bathroom. And I followed them into the bathroom. I was like, what are you guys doing? You guys doing some of the park jugs? You guys doing some of that yay? Nah, man, we're doing heroin. He said, you want to float? I said, I don't want to float. Was that like an it joke? You Pennywise? Yeah, I want some. Give me that. Captured my soul that night. So, I kept going, and I was going fast. And the whole time I was there, I was in North Dakota for about 6 years, and my ex at the time, she didn't even know my addiction. She didn't know that I overdosed 4 times while I was there. Well, she didn't know the last one. But 3 overdoses I had, she didn't even know about it. I remember I woke up in a store and was sitting in a lazy boy that they were trying to sell because I had collapsed on a lady. Poor lady. God, imagine that. But, I had an IV in my hand and my chest was sore from doing chest compressions. And I told him, I said, man, I just didn't eat none today. I took a drink of my Coke and I fell out. They said, well, you better go get to see if you got diabetes. Have a good day. That actually worked. Cool. So when I continued my addiction, that wasn't enough. I'm thick-headed. I'm about as thick-headed as it gets. So, it didn't work. So, I kept moving fast. We ended up moving to LA for a little bit. I was supposed to go to a school for music production. I ended up having to watch the kids and not doing it, so I just did heroin instead. And it got worse. Our relationship ended. I came home. I cleaned up for a little bit, a whole 6 months, and then I got met my next kid's mom. And we was all right, we thought we could do pills. We thought, I wasn't going through withdrawals if I did a couple pills. And then it progressed to heroin. And then COVID happened. And I remember pure as day, man, that everybody's pills dried up because Trump signed that deal and everybody got cut off their pills. They had to come in and count them. They had to come in and do UAs twice a month, pill counts twice a month. Everybody started freaking out. And fentanyl started trickling in. And it was cheaper, and it hit harder, and by golly, I wanted it all. So I started doing it. And I started spiraling. And if you guys have ever heard her story, she was not talking about dang Walmart where they allegedly we hit some licks. That's all I'm gonna say. They made some changes at Walmart because of us. Brady. I'm not playing, bro. But I decided I didn't want to be just a fiend. I wanted to be the plug. So I became the plug. I became the plug, and I was living fast. I was living lavish. I had money. I had the car. The car I bought, traded with. I'm not even gonna get into it. 2019 Challenger I had. I was loving it up. And then one day we got a hotel room, and life caught up to me. I left the straw out. I had some cocaine on it. And my daughter got a hold of it. And, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to smoke a cigarette and I came back in. And I didn't notice anything at first. She was just laying there because I had already taken her a bath and swimming. And I didn't notice anything until I heard her breathe. And I looked down and her lips were purple. I said, oh my God. I picked her up and she was limp. And I said, what do I do? I picked her up, put her on the bed. I started screaming for her mom to call 911. She was asleep with our son. And I thought back to 3 years prior, I took a CPR class for no reason at all. So I put her back on the floor. And I started administering CPR, and CPR for infants is different than adults. You have to use the two fingers, 15 pumps, breathe. And I kept breathing by the grace of God. She was still breathing. Paramedics got there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my daughter sitting right over there. Beautiful and healthy, intelligent, and goofy. But I was charged with child neglect because they found the drugs in her system. And it just initiated my crazy spiral, man. It was all bad. And by that Christmas, I had about 100 150 pounds of water weight because my heart was backing up fluids in my body from the amount of fentanyl that I was doing. And I couldn't wear shoes because my feet were swollen. My legs were swollen. My whole body was swollen. I had to get in the back seat sideways, And so I finally went to the hospital, and they were like, I don't know how you walked in here. I don't even know how you're still alive. Like, I would say that if you were waiting any longer, you'd be gone, but you shouldn't even be here right now, And I had to drain all that liquid out of my body, and it brought me back. I said, wow, this is the exact place I was not supposed to be. And so I ended up catching COVID somehow. I was asymptomatic, so I don't know if I fully believe that I had it, because they came in and gave me a test and said they lost the test and gave me another one, and all of a sudden I had it. But I ended up missing my court date because of that, and I had to put a bench warrant out because I guess COVID wasn't good enough excuse. And so my bondsman said, yeah, we're going to do a walkthrough. Yeah. The only one to walk through was him. Son of a... Okay, man. Yeah, man, we just go up here real quick and what you guys have, sign your paperwork. We came in the elevator, he went out. He went this way, we went that way. Never seen him again. God dang. All I know is we went in the courtroom and then there's 3 sheriffs standing at every door. God. Well. So we went to jail, of course. And we were on methadone, so we were getting our methadone every week. Graciously, jail actually got us our methadone every week. And I struck a deal for a blind plea. Supposed to go to rehab. But the rehab wouldn't let me in because I was on methadone. So they wanted me to go to detox. And the detox wouldn't let me in on the amount of methadone I had. So I had to wean off to 45 milligrams. Well, I weaned it off, and somebody dropped the ball somewhere because they didn't come and get me. So I had to detox myself in jail for methadone, longest 3 weeks of my life. I was sick. My cellie said, I know you're sick, man. You done gave me the biscuits and gravy tray 3 times, bro. Where they do that at? Not me. But I ended up going to treatment. I went to a place in Miami called Noga. It was pretty cool. But I got kicked out for hitting a vape. So I went to another place right down the road called the Ark. Please don't ever go there. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's bed bugs, they had expired milk. I'm telling you, I'm not playing. They gave me a jug of milk that was yellow. It was December, and the jug said March on it. I say, you drink it. But I just did what I had to do. I did my time. I was working. I got me a job selling phones. Everything was cool. I graduated, and I was really good at my job. I was selling phones, and I got a promotion. They made me a territory manager. I was selling phones out of Walmart for Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and they made me over 3 locations in Ada, Durant, and Ardmore. And I was working. But this is why I say I got a me problem, because I was not working when I was supposed to be working. I wasn't cleaning house. You can't go to work all day, come home to a messy house and wait for it to clean itself. Where do they do that at? I'll wait. Anybody ever done that? Did your house clean itself? Didn't think so. That's not how it works. You have to do the work. And I wasn't, because I was a know-it-all. I had 2 jobs. One of them was paid really good. The other one paid nothing. It consisted of me knowing everything. And, I thought I was going to be okay. I had a car. I was making like $60,000 a year. I was like, yeah, man, this is the life. But I wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't doing steps. I didn't have a sponsor. And I didn't sure wasn't doing no service work. And I went home. I went home to Lawton. That's always my downfall, is when I go home and stay in Lawton. And I relapsed. I relapsed and went hard again. And my plug tried to kill me. My plug tried to take me out to the country. They beat me up, they jumped me, this with me, but he didn't want to waste a bullet on me, so he said, I'm gonna go into the trunk. He had a 2020 Camaro, brand new or semi-new. And he went to the trunk to open it, but the trunk wouldn't open. Lever wouldn't work, button wouldn't work. And so that was my eye-opener. God was saving me yet again. Yet again, he saved me. So I decided, well, it's time. I knew what I was supposed to do before, but I had to actually put my whole heart into it. And so I decided to go call this wonderful lady sitting in the back here. No pressure. From Country Road staff, they got me into detox. Another gentleman sitting in the back came and picked me up from detox. And I went to Country Roads. And when I got to Country Roads, man, I was wounded. I was wounded emotionally. I was wounded spiritually. I was wounded physically. My leg was so swollen up again from my usage that I had wounds that were open. Like my legs were swollen. There was blisters that busted open. It looked like I ran through barbed wire. It was disgusting. So I was there to heal, but they said it was because I had to go to the nurse every other day. But they say Dixon's the only prison where the locks are on the inside, and I was in a prison, but it was a self-imposed prison, and it was dark, and I could see out, but I couldn't get to it. I seen all these wonderful people out here putting puzzle pieces on this table for me to work on, but I couldn't get to it because there was a door and it had locks on it. And I looked at it and I realized that each lock represented something else. And the first one was willingness. So I knew I had that one because I was willing to go to treatment. Reached in my pocket, got that key, and I put it in. I opened that lock, the light turned on. So all right, got something going here. And so I had to work on the next lock. The next lock was rigorous honesty. Honest with myself about where I'm at and how I got here. And what I wanted to change, who I wanted to be. So I worked on that key, chiseled it. I had to form it, I had to work at it. It wasn't easy, but put it in. And I went to the next lock, which was open-mindedness. I had to work on that one for real because I'm a know-it-all. It consists of knowing everything, and I'm a control freak. So imagine my dismay when I have to relinquish power to somebody else. Probably not, guy. But I did. I worked on it. I kept my mind open to a new way of life, to new ideas, to new everything. Because the only thing you have to change is everything. So I worked at that. Slid that key in there, we were off to the next one. Radical acceptance. I had to accept myself for who I was, accept that I was an addict, accept, it took me a while, accept the fact that I'm an alcoholic. Because somewhere in my life I developed an actual physical allergy to alcohol. Whenever I would drink, my diaphragm would swell up and I couldn't breathe. So I hadn't drank in some years, like 10 years, about 8 years. So I was not an alcoholic. Some of the guys remember that. I argued with Miss Lee about that forever. She said, dude, you're an alcoholic. I said, no, I'm not. She said, okay, you can't drink, right? Right, I can't physically drink, right? But if you could, would you? I said, shit. Guess I'm an alcoholic. So radical acceptance. The next one was surrender. I had to surrender to a program. I had to surrender to the new management of my life, because if I was the manager of my life, would I still have a job? Absolutely not. Escort him off premises. This guy's in here handing out Whoppers and we're Taco Bell, so that doesn't really, where they do that? Messing up the whole program here. So I surrendered. But did I know I was ready to surrender to a higher power? I don't know. That was a tough one. And so I put that key in there, and lo and behold, the very last key was spirituality. Boy, that was a tough one, because it shouldn't have been tough, because I was raised traditional, and we have our ceremonies and everything. But the thing about substances is they separate you from your spirituality and become your spirituality. Right? You bond with it, and it becomes everything. So when you take this substance out of your life, you have to bond. You have to find a new spirituality. You have to find a higher power. And so that was tougher than I thought it would be, because I thought I had it in the bag, but no. I sure didn't. But my spiritual awakening, it happened when I was there at Country Roads. And it happened, I was doing my prayers one night. And I call them habit prayers because I wasn't putting no heart into them. I do the Serenity Prayer, I do the Lord's Prayer. And I was just reciting them, and I caught myself one night praying for my kids, and I was thinking about something else, but I was praying like, what? You're not even really praying, bro. And I started thinking about my kids going through life without God, without my Creator. How are they gonna? I can't fathom that. I can't fathom my kids going through life without having a relationship with God. And it made me think. I remember my dad told me one time. He said, what's going on? Something's going on. This and that. He said, well, did you pray about it? I said, yeah, I've been praying about it all day. He said, all day. He said, why? The first prayer didn't work. The first prayer wasn't enough. I said, if you're not putting faith in your prayer, if you're repeating it, then you're not putting your faith in your first prayer. You got to make sure you put your whole heart and your faith in your prayers. And that's what I want my kids to go through in life. There was a principal did a exercise with these 2 5th grade classes, and he gave them both an impossible puzzle to do in a limited amount of time. But he gave one of them a secret. He said, here's a cape, and I want you kids to be your favorite superhero. The results were amazing. The kids with the capes, they were 3 times longer than the kids without. I want my kids to have God as a cape. I want them to be able to go through life with knowing that they have more capabilities than what they thought, because God is on their side. With Creator on your back, you can do anything. That's what I want my daughter and my son and my oldest daughter, one of them, and all my kids, all my nieces, all the babies know about God and the Creator like that. And so it made me think, like, for me, why did it take this long? Why did it take this long? And they say that you get your statistically somewhere you get your concept of a higher power from your biological dad. And so it wasn't until I heard Mr. Cliff speak, put it in perspective. He said he was struggling with spirituality, and he said that he went to church with his wife, and he was struggling. And he said the preacher was talking to him. He said, when I was a kid, I used to run and go play across town. He said, and when I went to go play, I had to run to a cemetery. And when I come back, it'd be nighttime, and I'd have to go back to that cemetery. And he said, so I closed my eyes, and I run through there as fast as I could. He said, but sometimes it was my dad who got to walk me home. And he said, so I grab his hand, stick out my chest, and walk through there not a care in the world. And that's what walking with God is supposed to feel like. That's what I was after. That's what I was lacking all this time. That's what I didn't know that I needed. I needed to hear that. I needed to put it into perspective. And so that was my spiritual awakening. I remember, like, I was struggling with the communication part. And I remember we had a meeting client meetings, and somebody else is struggling. She said, I tried praying to God, and I'm always asking him, but I don't ever get no answer. I don't ever get an answer. And I spoke, and I didn't even know I spoke. I didn't think about it. I just said it. I said, man, the majority of my contact with my higher power is through other people. I said, wow, did I just say that? I don't even know where that came from. And she said, man, I think God just talked to me through you. I don't know about all that, but I'm kind of impulsive. But it was real, man. That's, your higher power talks to you in ways only you can perceive it. You just have to be open to it. And so that was what I needed, to open that door. I opened that door, but I realized that was a door that I'd have to open every single day. Every day I'd have to open that door and work on all those things. And so I opened that door and I looked at that table full of all that work. I said, man, they talking about steps. I'm like, man, do I look like I like steps, bro? But it was time to heal. There was these puzzle pieces on this table that I needed to put my life back together. There was healing, and there was traumas and resentments, cognitive distortions, people, places, and things, triggers, coping skills, all this that I needed to put together so that I could heal. And I thought, well, I can't do that. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. But the thing is, I have to do it because my inability to fight addiction, to fight codependency, to fight traumas means that my kids inherit that fight. I have to fight it and I have to overcome it because I can't let my kids inherit that fight from me. Don Coya said it not too long ago. He said, we're now in the time that we shift from intergenerational trauma to intergenerational healing. So I had to do it. This isn't a choice. So I started healing. The shame, the guilt, the sadness, the anger. I had to be present with it because I was always used to numbing it and trying to run from it. And I was wondering, I was like, why didn't God save me before? I started going back to that. Why wouldn't God, And I realized I was in my own way. What does Mark say? Get out of your way and let somebody help you. Because look, I was dead inside and I needed to be resuscitated. So what do they do when you die and they resuscitate you or you're dying and they try to hit you with a defibrillator? They yell clear, right? Why do they yell clear? They yell clear because they don't want nobody else touching you. Because the electricity will flow through you. So here I am asking God, resuscitate me, and he's yelling clear, but I'm still holding on to resentments, to traumas, to people, places, and things. And he can't resuscitate me until I let go. And I didn't know how to let go. So I realized I was in my own way, and I had to let it go. Because God's amazing. He'll move mountains for me, but what? He's going to hand me a shovel first. I got to put that work in. And it became clear why I relapsed and everything. And I realized that, the powerlessness, I was powerless over my addiction, but I was always also powerless over other people. Because I allowed people to dictate my behaviors. The only things I can control in my life is what I say and what I do, my behaviors. So why would I let those things go? Because I was powerless. And I worked on that. I started healing and I started being honest. I started going through therapy. And suddenly the pieces started coming back together. And it's like that story of that boy. He wanted to play with his daddy. He said, Dad, I want to play. And he said, no, son, I'm busy. I'm working. He said, Dad, but I really want to play with you. He said, well, son, there's a puzzle there, the world map. He said, go put that together. And then when you're done, we'll play. He said, okay. He said, surely that bought me some time, a couple hours at least. He doesn't know what the world looks like. 20 minutes later, the boy comes back. He said, here, Dad, I finished it. He said, how'd you do that? You don't know what the world looks like. He said, Dad, on the other side of the world was a picture of a man. I put the man back together and the world fell into place. faith without works is dead. And sometimes those old behaviors try and come back. Those thought processes. But you gotta know, you gotta tell that manager, hey, off premises, you're not welcome here. And if you want self-esteem, you gotta do esteemable things. If you want self-worth, you gotta put the work in. The harder you work, the more you feel the worth. And it's hard because I know the stigma of addicts and alcoholics, people look down on us. They say that you guys are less than. But we're more than. We're more than because we've evolved. That's like the guy who was getting a haircut. He was getting a haircut and the barber said, hey, watch this, man. There's this guy out here. He's homeless, addict, alcoholic. He's so stupid. He said, watch this. He said, hey, man, come in here. Come in here. And he said, he held out a dollar bill and a $5 bill. And he said, hey, man, which one do you want? The homeless guy picked the dollar. He went out. And the barber was laughing. He's so stupid. He does that every single time. He never picks the $5. He only picks the dollar. He's an idiot. The guy was just like puzzled. And he went outside and he seen that guy. He said, how come you didn't pick the $5? He said, well, because if I pick the $5, the game's over. So they look down on us. They look at us like we're less than, but we're more. We're evolved. Because why? Pain is nature's greatest teacher. Anybody that's got kids here knows. Don't touch that hot stove. 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 What do they do? Touch the hot stove. Do they do it again? Not if it hurt enough. Pain teaches you, and the reason why pain is such a great teacher is because we're allowed to heal from it. We're allowed to grow from it. And I'm grateful for my addiction. I'm grateful for everything that I've been through. I hate that it was at the expense of my children, but I'm grateful for what I can share, my experience, and how in tune I am with myself, my emotions, my mental health, my relationship with my higher power, my relatives, and my brothers, my kids, and moms, like everything. As a result of my recovery, everything starts to flourish. And the more you water your recovery, the more you seed your recovery, the more you put into your recovery, it blossoms the rest of your life. And one of the greatest thing I love about being an addict and alcoholic is all y'all. There it is. Because of the fellowship we have is amazing. You know, the common misconception is the alcohol, or the opposite of addiction is sobriety, but it's not. The opposite of addiction is connection. You know, they did an experiment a long time ago on rats. They put a rat in a cage, gave them 2 waters, one of them was treated with, or one of them was regular, one of them had cocaine or heroin in it. And it had 100% overdose rates every time. And so that was where they got their idea of addiction from for a long time, until somebody else revisited that experiment. And he said, the problem's not the rat, the problem's the cage. What else does he have to do? There's nothing else to do, so they redesigned it. They put a new cage, they gave him other rat buddies, they gave him a little rat wheel and little rat stuff to do, and they gave him the same water. They gave him a treated water with drugs, and they gave him a regular water, and the overdose rate went to 0. Why? Because it gave him somebody else to bond with. We bond with the substance. It becomes our everything. When you take the substance out, and you put other people in, and you allow them to bond, we don't need that substance anymore. We give each other what we need. The love, the compassion, community connection, and compassion. That's all we need with each other. And it's beautiful. But nothing is possible without a higher power. I stand here today. Not too long ago, I was facing 10 years in prison. And my kids were in DHS custody. Everything was looking bad, man. It was all bad. Today I stand here today. I got 2 years DOC supervision, 10 years suspended. All I gotta do is call in once a month, and my kid, the DHS, dropped the case, bud. And it's not, none of that's possible without God. I gotta, I'd supposed to start probably tomorrow or next week at this job at South Coast, working as a tech there. And I have a clothing line that I've started. It's called Recovery Over Everything. Because that's important to me, because you have to realize that recovery has to come first over everything and everyone. Because anything you put before your recovery doesn't matter, because you'll lose it. So you have to keep that in mind, because I learned that the hard way. So before we go, I want to share one of my songs. I made a song when I was in Country Roads. It's a round dance song, but it talks about addiction. And it's kind of never been done before with round dance. But I feel like it was an important thing to do. So. I'm thinking of all the times that I've had, the good times and the bad. But this just ain't working, the drinking ain't worth it. I swear I'm not all that bad today. I'm on a new path. Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, 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 hey, I'm thinking of all the times that I've had, the good times and the bad. But this just ain't working, these drugs just ain't worth it. I swear I'm not all that bad today. I'm on a new path. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis. Now, on a serious note, one thing I learned is my Newman family, they live around a long program. But we also like to celebrate various times of sobriety, and we also. I'm thinking along the times that I've had, the good times and the bad. But this just ain't working, the drinking ain't worth it. I swear I'm not all that bad today. I'm on a new path. Hey, away.
Soon as I could walk, I swear I hit the road running. Got the rundown from my parents, pushed me toward it cause they love me. But I knew I had these options, yeah. Look at where we come from. Home is in the heart of it, so what we supposed to run from? Been losing friends and family since forever. They don't see me doing good, they just see me doing better. That's a mindset that I hate cause I'm not in no competition. Sometimes I hear it calling, but they're choosing not to listen. Watch my homies go from strong to feeling down. Family going from alive to in the ground. The road is lonely, I'm just searching for the sounds of all my people cause I wish they were around. Red road blues. Red road blues. Red road blues. Red road blues. Full of light, full of life, full of clarity. Full of blessings all around and they're hearing me call out your name. Things won't be the same, yeah. Wish you would've changed, yeah. Now my world is plain, yeah. Red roads, lonely days, while my people suffering. Children out here wondering why their parents so thirsty. Children out here hurting. Red road blues. Oh, red road blues. Yeah, yeah. Red road